Have you ever come across an ancient beverage loaded with antioxidants and used by world-class athletes to boost performance? And no, it's not an energy drink and it's not coffee. We're talking about Yerba Mate. Hello everyone, my name is Vander and welcome to Vander Explains, where we take deep dives into mystery, crime, sciences, and the stories behind the things we often take for granted. It's good to be back with another video, and today I have an exciting one to share with all of you. We're unraveling the centuries-old mystery and modern obsession of the beverage known as Yerba Mate. What exactly is it? Where does it come from? And why are athletes and health enthusiasts all over the world hooked on it? From people like Dr. Andrew Huberman to Lionel Messi and even the late Pope Francis are all known to consume Yerba Mate. By the end of this video, you'll know the history, cultural tradition, and the health pros and cons of this ancient drink. Make yourselves comfortable because this is going to be a fascinating ride. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is Yerba Mate? Well, Yerba Mate is a caffeinated herbal beverage that is traditionally prepared in a mate gourd and drank using a straw called a bombilla. Mate is made from brewing the dried leaves and stems of the Ilex paraguariensis plant, which is native to subtropical regions of South America like Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. Although it's often referred to as a tea, Yerba Mate isn't technically a true tea. The term true tea is generally used for beverages made from the Camellia sinensis plant, the source of black, green, oolong, and white teas. Yerba Mate, in contrast, is classified as a herbal infusion or tisane. That said, the line between what is and isn't tea can get blurry. For example, herbal teas like chamomile and peppermint are widely consumed and referred to as teas, even though they don't come from that tea plant either. From a botanical standpoint, the distinction is accurate, but in everyday use, most people don't differentiate them. Now, before we jump into Yerba Mate's widespread cultural presence today, let's take a step back to understand its origins and how it was cultivated and integrated into the daily life of early South American societies. According to the book titled Cacao, the Spirit of Yerba Mate, the discovery of this beverage traces back to around 3000 BC, when it was first consumed by the Caingang people, an ancient civilization living in the Parana rainforest. But while the Caingang may have discovered the plant, it was the Guaraní who truly unlocked its potential. The Guaraní people perfected the art of harvesting, preparing, and consuming yerba mate. They knew its nutritional value, often chewing on the raw leaves or steeping them in a gourd of water and sipping them through handcrafted sugarcane straws. This early form of brewing would evolve to the tradition we still follow today. In fact, the word mate itself comes from their language, cacao mate, with cacao meaning herb or plant, and mate referring to the gourd from which it is drunk. But yerba mate wasn't just fuel, it was sacred. One legend tells of a time when the Guaraní had arrived in a new land, but they didn't know how to cultivate the plants that grew wild in the forest. Despite their efforts, the land became barren after a few years, forcing the tribe to relocate again and again, living in a constant nomadic lifestyle. During one of the migrations, an old and ailing man named Yari became too weak to continue. But rather than burden his tribe, he chose to stay behind alone. But his daughter Yara refused to leave him. Though she longed to continue the journey with her friends, her love for her father kept her by his side. They built a small hut in the forest and lived in a quiet solitude, caring for each other. Then one day, a mysterious visitor appeared. A shaman with pale skin and bright blue eyes. It was Pai Shume. Yari and Yara welcomed the stranger as best they could, and in gratitude, he gave them a gift, the evergreen cacao mate plant. He explained how to care for it, process it, and prepare it as a drink, so they would never have to move again. The infusion from its leaves restored Yari's health, and together with Yara, he rejoined the tribe, bringing the sacred plant and its knowledge with him. From that moment forward, yerba mate became more than sustenance. It became a symbol of hospitality and love, and Yari and Yara were remembered as the guardians of the sacred plant. Thanks to the deep spiritual and nutritional value that the Guaraní attributed to yerba mate, it became a currency of exchange, traded with other pre-Hispanic people like the Incas, Charruas, Araucanians, and Pampas, who eventually adopted the drink into their own cultures. It then spread even more during the Spanish colonization of South America, where mate was transported across the entire land under Spanish rule. And this was just the beginning of mate's global rise to popularity. In the 21st century, increased global connectivity and the rise of social media helped propel yerba mate to audiences around the world. People began to notice this strange, earthy drink showing up on the sidelines of football matches, in press conferences, and eventually in our favorite influencers' morning routines. And here's a fun fact. During the 2022 World Cup, where Argentina went to win the entire tournament, the team brought along over 200 mate gourds and more than 500 kilograms of yerba mate leaves. They took it everywhere, to press conferences, to the pitch, and even made it part of their pre-game ritual. And who knows, maybe this played a small part in helping them bring home the trophy. Even UFC fighters, NBA players, and endurance athletes started adopting it, swapping out sugary energy drinks for a more natural boost that was gentler on the system but still packed a punch. In the United States, companies like Guaraní took notice. They branded yerba mate as a sustainable plant-powered energy source. It was organic, non-GMO, and loaded with antioxidants. Guaraní began distributing canned, bottled, and sparkling mate drinks in health stores, co-op shops, and even major supermarkets. Suddenly, mate wasn't just a cultural drink, it was a lifestyle brand. And it wasn't just in the US. From Paris cafes, to K-pop idols, to TikTok influencers, yerba mate became a global phenomenon. People were no longer just drinking mate, they were learning how to prepare it and joined in the cultural tradition. There are even entire YouTube channels, link in the description below, dedicated exclusively to preparing yerba mate. But what is behind all this hype? What exactly does yerba mate provide us? Let's break down the science behind the sip. Yerba mate contains a potent trio of natural stimulants: caffeine, theobromine, and theophylline. They work together to deliver a smooth, balanced boost in energy without the jittery crash often associated with coffee. In fact, studies suggest that mate contains even more antioxidants than green tea, thanks to its high levels of polyphenols and chlorogenic acids, which help fight free radicals and reduce inflammation. It is also packed with essential vitamins like B1, B2, B3, B5, and vitamin C. It also contains minerals including magnesium, potassium, and manganese, all of which support immune health, muscle recovery, and mental function. Regular drinkers often report enhanced focus and alertness, improved physical performance, and even better digestion. And for some, mate can act as a mild diuretic and can help relieve constipation by stimulating gastric juices and bowel movements. On top of that, some studies also cite the ability in aiding appetite control and fat metabolism, making it a natural tool for weight management. With each sip, you're essentially getting the strength of coffee, the health benefits of tea, and the indulgence of cocoa, all thanks to its unique chemical makeup. As for the taste, it's quite earthy, grassy, and slightly bitter, but one that many say becomes comforting and even addictive over time. For me personally, it took quite a while to get used to, but the beauty of mate is that with every refill of hot water, the flavor softens and becomes more enjoyable. But with all that said, it begs the question, is it all good news, or are there some drawbacks to consuming mate? While yerba mate offers many health benefits, it's important to be aware of potential downsides. One of the most significant concerns is related to the temperature of which mate drinkers consume this beverage. There have been instances where people have unfortunately been diagnosed with esophageal cancer after consuming mate. However, this was not due to the drink itself, but rather the temperature at which it is being consumed. According to the WHO, any beverage consumed at or above 65 degrees Celsius or 149 degrees Fahrenheit has a risk of burning your throat and causing injury, which then could lead to esophageal cancer. Another potential downside is that the caffeine content in yerba mate can cause side effects such as insomnia, restlessness, increased heart rate, or palpitations, especially in individuals sensitive to stimulants or when consumed excessively. Furthermore, yerba mate may interact with certain medications, including blood thinners and stimulants, potentially affecting their efficacy or metabolism. For these reasons, it's best to start with small amounts and see how your body responds before making it a regular part of your routine. As with consuming new food or beverages, moderation and mindful consumption is key. Now that we have cleared its potential benefits and drawbacks, let's walk through how to prepare the perfect mate. To prepare mate the traditional way, you'll need a few key tools. First is the mate gourd, often made from hollowed out wood, ceramic, or stainless steel. Then there's the bombilla, a metal straw with a filter at the base that lets you sip the infusion without swallowing the leaves. And of course, you'll need the yerba mate itself. And lastly, you'll want a kettle with a temperature control or a thermometer so you don't overheat the water and lose the good stuff. Preparing mate is more than just pouring hot water over leaves. There's tradition and technique involved. It's a ritual passed down across generations in South America. To begin, fill your gourd about 2/3 full with yerba. Then tilt the gourd while aiming to push the yerba to the brim, using your hands to prevent the leaves from falling as you tilt. Next, rest the mate gourd at a slight angle. This creates a natural slope and leaves a hollow space on one side. Now, before adding hot water, pour in a splash of cool or lukewarm water into that empty space and let it sit for about 30 seconds. This helps moisten the leaves to create a stronger foundation that prevents the mountain from toppling over as you insert the bombilla or during refills. That little pocket of hydrated mate is where you'll insert the bombilla. Insert it gently, aiming for the bottom, and perform a light scoop underneath the mountain. However, once it's set, try not to move it too much as this helps avoid clogging and preserves the structure of the mate. Then, pour in your hot water slowly, but make sure it's not boiling. The ideal water temperature sits between 70 to 80 degrees Celsius or 160 to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Water that's too hot doesn't just scald your throat, but it also burns the mate leaves, stripping away antioxidants and making the brew overly bitter. And remember, once your gourd is filled, please let it cool for a few seconds before taking your first sip. And here's the beautiful part. Mate isn't meant to be a one-time drink. You can keep refilling it with hot water 10, 15, and even 20 more times. Each pour drawing out new layers of taste and complexity. It's designed to be savored slowly and often socially. Traditionally, the gourd is passed around in a circle to share the experience. So that's how you make mate, not just correctly, but meaningfully. And there you have it, an ancient beverage with a lot of culture and history making its way to modern society. Yerba mate is not just a drink with many health benefits, it's a social ritual for many and also part of their lifestyle. Whether you're curious, a caffeine explorer, or just looking for something new to try, it's definitely worth a sip. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider subscribing for more deep dives like this. Got thoughts, questions, or just want to start a discussion? Please drop a comment below and I'd love to hear from you. And if there's something else that you want me to review and explain next, please let me know. Click right here to check out other videos just like this. For now, this is Vander, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.